Hey guys, welcome back. As always, my name is Laser, and today we're going to be talking about the top picks of Rotation 6 or Week 6. This one was a bit of a doozy, and I asked you guys, hey, hold on for the review so you can make an informed decision. So if you waited, you definitely made the right choice, because this week, well, it was a bit more buggy than usual. Starting off with the melee weapons, you have a choice between the Cyber, or the Hate. Now, both of these are not exactly easy to get, because one is from the Stalker, and for the other one, you need 30,000 cryotic, which is not exactly that easy or fast to get. However, between the two, it seems like the Hate is the more interesting choice, and believe it or not, I do have a guide on this one thanks to you, my outstanding community. I'm going to be linking guides to all of the weapons we're talking about in the cards as we talk about them. Honestly, for a melee weapon, the Hate is pretty powerful, but you can expect the same amount of performance from others as well. Now, when you swing your weapon, it believes it's a ranged weapon. So how do you improve melee weapons? You give them gun form, essentially. Now, this projectile has travel speed, which is pretty slow. It's got contact damage, and then after about a half a second delay, it's gonna be exploding, dealing heat damage. Now, what you gotta keep in mind that this is an actual explosion. It will stagger you if you're not Revenant or another Warframe that can deal with this issue, or what you can do is use Prime Sure-Footed. We got an update on this topic, however, over from the Marcus on the official forums, and he says the following. The team will be reviewing the self-stagger on the Hate's Incarnon form. We want you to be able to get up close and personal without the consistent AoE knockdowns. Honestly, the weapon is amazing. I mean, it goes through everything. I cannot deny that. I cannot deny the fact that melee is extremely powerful, because it is. Look at that. Look at that. You don't even need to try. All you gotta do is press E. I don't even W or anything. All I do is aim my mouse in the general direction of the enemies and spam E. You wanna go through everything? Nice and easy? This is the way. Next up, let's talk about the secondary weapons, and we got a choice of two again. The Zylok or the Despair. And both of these before the update were essentially mastery fodder. Nobody really played with them, and the Riven disposition was pretty high and is still pretty high for both of them. Unfortunately for us, the Zylok is bugged all the way to hell and back. The explosion has line of sight, multi-shot doesn't work on the explosion, and that's not even all of it. For the time being, forget about the Zylok. I am sure that Digital Extremes will fix it, and after they fix it, this should be one hell of a secondary weapon. Up until that point, not really. The good part, the Despair, is absolutely sensational. We got a true blue carpet bomber. You're gonna be able to plant a whole lot of explosives really quick on your targets, and they are quite potent. It's still a secondary thrown weapon plagued by the same issues. Accuracy, travel time, drop off, all of that stuff. But when the weapon makes contact with a target or a surface, 1.5 seconds later, you're gonna be getting yourself this big bada-boom explosion. And yes, you guessed it, this, my friends, is a true blue carpet bomb weapon. Performs, I'm gonna pretend like my Revenant is affected by explosions and jump into the air. Yes, I am cheating with Revenant, and I will do so again because I love this Warframe, and you should too. Fantastic Warframe, definitely farm this guy. Look at that, a couple of headshots, already killed the corrupted heavy goon, but now once again I get the carpet bomb to my heart's content. And finally, the primary weapons, or should I say weapon, since we only really got a choice of one. The Dread was the most anticipated Incarnon weapon of week 6, and unfortunately, okay, I can't say disappointed because it packs one hell of a punch. It's fully capable of annihilating high-level targets from the contact damage alone. The problem I feel is that they did basically the exact same thing as they did with the Incarnon Paris Prime. And between the two, your obvious choice is gonna come down to, okay, fine, which is more powerful at the end of the day? And right now, the Incarnon Paris Prime is a tiny bit more effective. But if you don't have one over the other, rest assured there is only a slight difference in performance between these two weapons. Now, the projectile also changes. No longer is it a standard arrow, but instead it's a fat projectile. Awfully thin, but awfully wide as well. If you ever play with the Fluctus heavy weapon or arc gun, you know exactly how this one will feel. It travels pretty quickly, and it's gonna be able to go through every single target, as the projectile has infinite body punch through, but upon contact with a surface, it has this detonating effect. It looks like it's exploding. There is no explosion, it's only a visual thing. Obviously, in normal steel path, at this level, the weapon is gonna be clearing whatever stands before you. I don't think I need to point that out. Essentially, the contact damages alone is enough to absolutely annihilate the target. It doesn't even get to the procs level. So from a power perspective, there is realistically no reason to cry about this weapon. The power level is there. Is it as exciting as I would have hoped? Probably not. So what am I choosing anyway? The Despair was the best weapon out of week 5, that is my number 1 recommendation to you. As for the second spot, well, you got a choice between the Hate and the Dread. If you're a melee guy, go for the Hate. If you're a range guy, a bow guy, go for the Dread. And I do believe, my friends, that is pretty much it. This ends the new Incarnon rotations. What's gonna happen now is they're gonna circle back around to rotation number 1. In week 1, you got the Braton, the Leto, the Skana, the Paris, and the Kunai. And while I cannot exactly speak to the Skana or the Kunai, I can tell you that the Braton is definitely a must-have. That's gonna be your priority number 1.
This feels like a Warhammer 40,000 Boltor. It's heavier, it's meaner, it's tougher, and it deals a whole lot more damage. Oh, and the critical chance of critical damage is a lot higher as well. So this one just went full on nuclear. There has never been a more powerful Braton. If you got a pack of enemies in front of you, open up like that. But outside of that, you can very easily annihilate whatever stands before you. And the weapon, especially with that specific Incarnon talent, handles like an absolute dream. That's the capture target, was a capture target. There's really nothing that can stand before you. And the question would be, how does this one scale? If you're interested in level cap gameplay, take the weapon, it will handle beautifully well. As for the Leto, it didn't really seem all that interesting. It does have that link mechanic to additional targets, which is hit scan. It's not bad, but the Braton should be your number 1. And if you enjoy playing with bows, if you enjoy the way that the Dread looks, you're gonna be loving yourself the Paris as well, because that one is essentially the same. Just again, slightly more powerful. It's an Incarnon form. The projectile has infinite body punch through, meaning it's gonna be going through every body that you manage to hit. But unfortunately, upon contact with a surface, it will trigger this explosion-like effect. Now, this is just a visual effect, and it doesn't actually deal any damage to your targets. The projectile itself is very similar to the Fluctus if you ever played with something like that. It's thin, but it's awfully wide, so you can hit multiple targets rather easily. Presents more damage mitigation, but this is what you can expect out of the weapon. Again, I am going for headshots, trying to get as much as I can of that X4 multiplier. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but it offers me a little bit more to do with the weapon, in the sense that I'm actually trying to play well with it. I think it's dead. It was here somewhere. It might not be dead. You dead? Quite dead.
And I do believe, my friends, that is pretty much it. You got all the information you need to make an informed decision out of week 6. As for week 1, I'll bring you a more extensive guide on that one. But for the time being, as always, my name is Lazar. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe only if you enjoy the content. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.